everyone, and welcome to the newest video in our How to Grace video tutorial series, where we're looking at some different online tools about how we can continue to be Grace Lutheran Church in this mostly digital time. And today's topic is going to be on giving. I'm going to walk us through how to use the online giving functions of our Grace Lutheran Church website here in Winter Haven, Florida. Now, just a quick note on giving before we get started. Giving can be a contentious topic, and sometimes we don't like to talk about it. And so I wanted to address what we are giving to when we make financial contributions to Grace Lutheran Church. Now, we're not giving that money so that Grace Lutheran Church can grow its buildings into bigger and more beautiful buildings and campuses. Sometimes those things serve ministry, but the point of giving and contributing to our church is you're supporting the ministry that God is doing in and through Grace Lutheran Church here. And so I just wanted to make that note in that what we're contributing to is God's work here through grace. And so during times like now, when we don't have people coming into our doors, we're not passing the offering plate down the aisles, churches all over the country are thinking about how can we maintain our financial giving. And so online giving is a huge part in that because first, right now during the coronavirus, there's no changing of hands. When you give online, nobody is touching anything. It goes straight from one bank account or checking account, savings account, debit, credit card, whatever, to another account. And so that's the great thing about online giving. And so just keep in mind, while we're mainly virtual during this month, there are plenty of ways that we can still be connected to Grace Lutheran Church through our offering and still maintaining our tithe to our Lord and His ministries here at Grace Lutheran Church. So let's get started with the tutorial. Again, we're going to start by going to our browser here. I'm using Google Chrome. You can do whatever else is on your computer. Microsoft Edge, Safari, Firefox if you prefer. That really doesn't matter that much. We'll go back into our website, glwh.org. Here, when you get to the main page, I'm going to go to the Give tab. If you go to the very top and put your pointer cursor arrow on the Give tab, when your cursor is on it, it's highlighted in blue right there. So I'm going to left click on that Give tab. It's going to take you here. Now you do need one more click in order to get to the part where you actually make your offering here. We'll scroll down and we'll see online giving right here and electronic giving and donations. If you keep going, you can see the church address here where you can mail your checks and your cash if you prefer to operate there with some hard copies of a check or cash. But remember, those are still being touched by you. They're being touched by postal workers, and then they're being touched here when they get to the office. So those are certainly still opportunities for giving, but I'm going to highlight online giving here in this video. So we'll left click on the online giving buttons there, and it's going to take us to this page. Now, when you look at this, there's a lot of open blanks, and this can be intimidating sometimes for some people. But if we read carefully here, we see we've got a blank for general operating, a blank for hurricane repairs, music ministry, and so on. Now, all of these are pretty much the same thing that you will find on our offering envelopes. Our offering envelopes also have opportunities to mark where you want certain amounts of money to go, which specific ministries you want to support with your gift. And you can do the same thing here online by just putting in the field how much of your total gift you want to go to those different things. So we can put, say, $5 in here for the general operating, and say we want to support music ministry with a $10 gift. I would encourage you to pay attention to where your decimal point is, because with a decimal point, a $10 gift can turn into a $100 or $1,000 gift pretty quickly. So just pay attention to that decimal point there. And notice down here at the total, it's going to add up your total contribution um, on its own. So it's going to add up each of these fields without you having to really do anything. Each time you enter in a number, say we'll do $5 for missions here, and then you click somewhere else besides that field, it's automatically going to increase that total. So we have 5 plus 10 plus 5 equals 20 right here. And so when you're online giving, you can just fill all this out, or you can just put one lump sum into one of these, and that's perfectly fine too. It just gives you the option to earmark or to designate where certain amounts of your total gift are going to go if you want to choose to do that. Well, there's an option over here to log in with an email address and password if you want to make your own profile on here. We'll talk a little bit about that here in just a minute. We're going to finish out this form real quick. So right below the total, we have donation frequency right here. Donation frequency, and you have to choose something on this drop down arrow. So we'll push this arrow, left click there, and we can make our $20 donation here one time, each week, or each month. So the online giving function has a lot of opportunities. If you just want to make a one-time donation because you're not sure about income going forward, that's perfectly fine. It's an easy way to give is just those one-time gifts. And then you can go in each week or every other week or each month as you so choose and do that one-time donation. Or if you're on a fixed income, say for Social Security or pension, and you've got the same amount of money coming in every single month or every other week, and it's guaranteed like clockwork throughout the year, you can designate when you want money to automatically be drawn. So if you get paid each week and you want to do just as you get a check, you want the first thing to come out of that check to be your tithe. You can do weekly or you can do monthly here, and you can pick the date that you want it to come out. So if we do a weekly donation frequency and you want it to come out on Fridays, we'll do that weekly option there, and then on the donation start date, we'll pick this upcoming Friday, which happens to be April 3rd. And so your donation start date comes up right there. If you want to learn more about recurring donations, we can go ahead and click that blue button right there, and it'll just tell us a little bit about recurring donations, some of those benefits. And like I said, you can do each week or each month if you want with those recurring donations. So we'll just treat this as a one-time donation, and we'll talk a little bit more about frequent automatic withdrawals here in a little bit. Down here at the very bottom, there's the option to um, make your donation in honor or in memory of someone. So you'll just pick one of these and fill out this form, who it's in honor or in memoriam of. And then if you want to notify that person that you're making a donation in honor of them, you can enter their information there. Now this bottom part is completely optional. There's nothing required in it. I'm going to leave it perfectly blank. So just because it's optional, you don't have to do that. And so here looking over my form, I've got my different contributions to different ministries. I've got my total contribution right there, and I have the donation frequency set to one time. I'm leaving all of this blank because you don't have to fill out, you don't have to log into anything, you don't have to create a profile. A profile is helpful if you want to do recurring donations because you can set up that profile and you can change the details to that with just signing into your profile with your email and password. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. So I'll go down here to the bottom and click continue, and we'll go to the online donation information page. So this is where it's going to ask you for all of your details. Notice over here in the donation summary, it's just giving you a brief overlook of what we did on the page before this. A nice concise view of how much we contributed to each ministry, our total gift, the frequency, and the date that it's going to occur at. Since it's a one-time donation, it's going to start on April 2nd and it's going to end on that day. If you do a weekly or monthly donation, that donation start date will be whatever date that you want that withdrawal to begin. So here we're going to enter in our information, our first name, last name, our address, city, and zip code. Um, those are required fields. They have the required there in red. And then your email address. I highly encourage you to write your email address in there. That's going to be necessary for recurring donations if you're going to make a profile. And it's also going to be important if we are going to um, send you a receipt letting you know that we've received your contribution. And then here in the second part is where the contribution is going to come from. You can decide whether it's coming from a credit or debit card, whether it's coming from a checking or savings account, or whether it's coming from that savings account there. Notice that the inputs required are different depending on the method of payment. So with a credit or debit card, it's going to ask for your credit card number, 3 digits on the back if it's anything besides American Express, or those 4 digits on the front for American Express. Hit the What's This tab, and it's going to tell you where to find that CVV number, that security number. And then the expiration date, the name that's on the card, and then you can enter your billing address. If it's the same as this information up here and the donation information, you can just click use the same address as above, and it'll pull all that information back down here. So this is, you'll notice, is very similar to online shopping. If you've ever bought anything online, this is all the information that they'll need there, and it's just as secure. A lot of people's worries with online giving is that you're putting your personal information, very sensitive information, online for the whole world to see. But the truth is, it's not for the whole world to see. It's very private. The government and there are a lot of laws restricting what sites can do with this information. And really, nobody is going to see this. It's just going to go into the payment and be processed digitally. So nobody sees any of your information. It's only stored as to what the government requires them to be stored at. So none of that is going to be found by anybody. It's very secure. It's not even hosted by Grace Lutheran Church. As you see at the top, it's eService, Payments, and Vanco. Vanco is something Thrivent Financial has established for churches to use online giving, so it's very secure, very safe. Your information is not going to go to anybody. It's just going to, it's just a tool to use to contribute. And then if we click checking or savings up here, it's going to ask for your routing and accounting number. So you can pull directly from those checking and savings accounts if you wish to do that. So all those are different options that we can give. And then down here at the bottom, it's going to ask one more time if you want to save your profile. Because essentially you've already created your profile by going through all of these steps so far. The only thing missing is a password. So if you want to go ahead and set a password, you can scroll down here, hit select password, and then here are the password requirements. It looks like a lot, but it's just ways to keep you and your online profile safe. For selecting a password, make sure it's something you can remember and you won't forget. But also it needs to follow these guidelines, at least 8 characters, 1 letter and 1 number in the password. Can't be your first name or last name or email, things like that. So if you can't remember it, write it down and keep it in a very safe place because your password is going to control how you access this information. And so you'll just enter your password in there twice right here, and then you'll click the I'm not a robot function right there just to make sure that nobody's doing anything weird. With the site here, click the I'm not a robot and see that green check mark. And you'll get your note down here to review the information you entered carefully before you hit process because that's going to begin the transaction. So we talked a lot about how to do this on here. We went through a lot of information, and it's really not too terribly complicated. There's just a lot of information that's needing to be entered that first time. But if we save our profile, we make a password with our email address, then all of this information, the card information that you entered here, or the checking and savings information that you enter, will be saved to your profile. So you don't have to enter that every time. And that's really going to expedite that process. It'll save your information here, and that's going to make that process go a lot quicker. Here you can um, change the donation frequency to weekly or monthly so that it withdraws from your account without you having to remember it. You don't have to remember every week or every month to do that. It's automatically going to do that until you go into your profile you create with your email address and your password and make those changes yourself. So that's a quick tutorial on how to give online at Grace Lutheran Church at glwh.org. I hope you found this video helpful and you're a little bit more comfortable um, with online giving. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to send me an email or give me a call at the church office here, and I'd be happy to help you out with that and answer any questions that you might have. Thanks so much for joining me, and God bless your week.